My name's Nina Carter. I'm 35 years old. I've never been the favorite, the rebel, or the black sheep. I was always the reliable one. The one who showed up early, paid the deposit, remembered birthdays, kept the group chats organized, and made sure everyone had a ride to the airport. I handled things quietly, carefully, and without complaint. When my dad slipped on the stairs and tore a ligament last fall, I paused my vacation, flew back home, and spent 4 nights on his old pull-out couch, the mattress still creaking under me like a slow reminder of what I'd always been, someone to count on. My younger brother, Derek, said he'd come by if work wasn't too crazy. He never did. Mom smiled and called me a lifesaver, then asked if I could pick up her prescriptions before I left. I said yes, of course. Derek Carter is 2 years younger than me, and he lives like he's allergic to consequences. Charming, they say. Always has been. People say that like it's a compliment, but when it's your brother and you're the one covering rent and groceries, that charm wears thin. He dropped out of college after freshman year, moved home, moved out, moved back in again. Every time he got fired, Dad blamed the boss. Every time he needed help, Mom said he was just finding his way. And I kept steady. Reliable. The one with a steady paycheck and a full-time job in logistics since I was 22. I live alone in a modest condo just outside Portland, clean, quiet, no frills. I get along with my building manager, and I know the name of the guy who bags my groceries. That's about it. I'm not flashy. I like structure. I like being dependable. But there's something that happens when you're the dependable one. You don't get seen. Not really. The first time I noticed was at my cousin's wedding. Family wanted everyone dressed in coordinated tones, nothing too loud. Someone said I wore burgundy. It was November, I thought it was tasteful. When they sent out framed prints later, I saw I'd been cropped out. Just to make the layout fit, my aunt said with a smile. "You understand?" she asked. I said I did, because if I said otherwise, I'd get the look, the one that says, "You're making this harder than it needs to be." So I smiled, drove, paid, showed up. Even when no one saved me a seat. I never asked for much. I just wanted to be included without having to be useful. I wanted to belong for who I was, not what I provided. But in my family, being useful was the rent you paid to stay. One day, someone forgot to collect. It started with a phone call. Mom never calls midday unless something's wrong or she wants something. That Thursday, I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. "Hi sweetheart," she said in that high, syrupy voice she uses when softening a request. "I was thinking how nice it would be if you came to Derek and Chelsea's engagement dinner next month. It's on a rooftop, very elegant, just family and a few close friends." Then the real reason for the call: "We were wondering if you could help hold the reservation with your card. We'll pay you back." Of course I said yes. I listened to the message twice, then called the restaurant, booked a private section for 24 guests, left a $500 deposit. The woman on the phone asked if I wanted special requests. I told her floral centerpieces, and to check if lighting was good for photos. I wasn't angry then. Derek was getting engaged. Chelsea was fine. I'd met her once at a birthday lunch. She barely made eye contact, eyes glued to Instagram stories. Mom called her an angel and a much-needed balance for Derek. I knew what that meant. Chelsea came from money. Her father ran a mid-sized marketing firm in Seattle, the kind of family who sent holiday cards printed on matte stock with gold embossing. A few days later, I got a text from Mom: "Everything's confirmed. Thank you again, sweetie. You're a gem." No mention of paying me back. Still, I bought a new blazer, pressed slacks, picked a bottle of vintage Pinot Noir, and had a custom card made with their initials embossed in silver. I ordered a blowout that afternoon, something I hadn't done in over a year. Some foolish, dented part of me hoped maybe this time would be different. Maybe I'd have a seat that wasn't borrowed. Maybe I'd be seen for who I was, not what I provided. Maybe I'd be led into the photo, not left out. The night of the dinner, I arrived 10 minutes early. Late October, the sun just dipping below the skyline. The rooftop was strung with soft Edison bulbs, warm and golden, swaying gently in the evening breeze. A jazz trio played muted trumpet and brushed cymbals in the corner. Someone had gone all out. I wore a tailored navy blazer, black slacks, low heels. My hair still held the shape from the blowout. Bottle of wine in one hand, card in the other. The hostess greeted me by name and motioned me toward the private section. "Your party's already seated," she said with a smile. I walked in, careful not to scuff my shoes on the polished floor. Tables with fresh flowers, candles flickering, polished flatware, cloth napkins folded into sharp triangles. There they were, Mom and Dad, Derek, Chelsea, her family, a few friends. Drinks in hand, laughter floating through the air, effortless and well-rehearsed. Derek looked up when he saw me. Didn't smile, just raised a lazy hand. "Hey, Nina. You made it." He glanced at the wine in my hand, then passed me by like I'd wandered in from the bar. He nodded toward a side table. "That table's for family only, but we got you a spot over there." I followed his finger, a folding chair against the wall next to a plastic trash bin lined with a black bag. The table beside it was smaller, clearly overflow. One seat. No place setting. Mom gave me that tight-lipped smile. "Please don't make this complicated," it said. Dad raised his glass in a vague, uncomfortable toast. Chelsea didn't look up from her phone. I stood too long, wine sweating in my hand, then nodded and walked over, sat down, put the bottle on the floor beside me. Didn't take my coat off. The waiter came by, asked if I was with the main party. "Yes," I said. He brought me a glass of water. That was it. For the next 90 minutes, I watched as they toasted, passed plates, opened small gifts. Derek gave a speech about finding the one and being surrounded by people who matter most. Mom wiped away tears when Chelsea called her the best future mother-in-law a girl could ask for. No one looked my way. No one asked if I'd eaten. I stared at the perfect napkins on their table. None on mine. Dessert was some elaborate layered thing with edible gold flakes and hand-whipped cream. Someone snapped a photo before the first slice was cut. The jazz trio shifted into a slow standard. Sun was gone, replaced by city lights and the cold gleam of steel across the skyline. I hadn't spoken since Saturday. No one came over. Coat still buttoned. Then the waiter returned, holding a small leather folder. Stopped by their table, glanced at the check, then at me. "Excuse me," he said quietly. "The total comes to $3,218. Should I run the same card on file?" Heads turned. Derek looked up from his slice of cake. "Oh, yeah," he said casually. "Naz got it." Waiter looked at me again. I took a slow breath and smiled, not wide, not cold, just settled. "Actually," I said, voice low but clear, "that's not my table." A pause. "I was told it's for family only." "I'm over here." Mom froze, wine glass midair. Chelsea looked up for the first time all night. Her father furrowed his brow. Derek's jaw tightened. Waiter confused. "But you made the reservation, Im." "I did," I said. "I booked it, paid the deposit, requested the flowers. But I didn't eat. I wasn't welcomed. I'm not on that table's tab." No one spoke. You could hear the flick of a lighter as someone tried to relight a candle. I stood, picked up my coat, glanced once more at the folding chair, angled toward the trash bin. Apparently, that's where I belong. I walked away. Not fast, not dramatic, just steady. Waiter still held the bill as I passed. Behind me, Derek's voice, half laugh, half snap. "Come on, Nina. It was a joke. You're seriously doing this?" I didn't turn. I didn't need to. I didn't go home right away. Walked 2 blocks past a closing bakery, fogged car windows, still holding the unopened bottle of wine. Back at my condo, coat on, stood in the kitchen letting quiet settle. First message 30 minutes later, Derek, you couldn't even wait until the weekend. Second message, from Mom, we love you. I deleted them both. It was the first time I saw the truth laid bare. Sometimes, family isn't the people who show up for your milestones. Sometimes, family is who shows up when you're invisible.